all, my name is Ellie and I will be embarking on a road trip around Australia later this year in a self-converted camper van. There is a huge van life movement happening at the moment and it can be very tempting to jump on board, but there's a lot of things to consider first. I've been planning my conversion for about 2 months now and I'm just about to begin. I'll be documenting all that on my channel, so if you want to see that, then subscribe to stay updated. I'm Ellie Wilder and you're watching Wilder in Motion. The very first question you need to ask yourself is, why are you converting a van? For full-time living, an occasional weekender, just for one trip and then selling it? Your answer will largely determine what you need from your van. I will be living and traveling full-time in my van for at least 3 months. Which is my next point. Make a list of what you need to include in your van. Will you need solar power, a crate for your dog, a fixed bed? I highly encourage you to think on this list for at least a week. When I first started planning my camper 2 months ago, I thought I needed a shower. But the more I thought about it, I realized an outdoor shower was actually just as suitable and it saves time, money, and inconvenience. If you are leaving out a shower or a toilet, make sure you're satisfied that you'll be able to access these amenities when you're on the road. This might be staying at campsites or getting a gym membership. With a rough idea of what's going inside, you can start to get an idea of how big your van needs to be. There's a huge variety of different length wheelbases, different height cargo vans with low top, high top, pop top. For me, I want my van to be fairly stealthy, so I'm going for a moderate roof height and a length that can fit in a standard parking space with not too many windows. Some popular choices are the Mercedes Sprinter, Renault Masters, Iveco Dailies, Toyota Hiaces, Volkswagen Transporters, and Ford Transits. You can also get Ram ProMasters and Fiat Ducatos, which are pretty popular but not as accessible in Australia. Once you have a van in mind, you can design a layout to the dimensions, factoring in your must-include items. It's really important to do this to scale so you don't drastically underestimate the size of things like a bed. I've gone for a queen-size bed to bench at the back with a kitchen and wardrobe at the front and a fold-down kitchen bench. This is another thing I would highly encourage you spend a significant amount of time thinking about. Over the past 8 weeks, I've probably changed my design at least 20 times, and I'm certainly much happier now than I was with the original. Budget. Now, you probably already have a rough figure floating around in your head, but now that you've taken a look at the cost of vans and the number of items you want to include, you might need to do some adjusting. Originally, I was thinking 15 to 20k for everything, including insurance, rego, that kind of thing. But I want to get a nicer van with better finishes, so I've decided to squeeze things out to 25. It's time to actually write a budget. Save yourself the shock of hidden expenses later on and do as much as you can now. I basically wrote a spreadsheet of all the projected purchases, Googled to find a product that I liked, pasted in the URL and the price, and added them up. You might find that you come in way under budget and you can make plans to splurge elsewhere, or you may need to adjust and increase your budget or rein in your spending. Another thing that will factor into your budget is the amount of skills you have. If you're DIY savvy and willing to get your hands dirty, then you'll certainly save a lot of money on labor. I'm planning to do as much as possible myself, with the outlook that I may need to enlist a tradie for some of the more challenging technical tasks. You'll also want to learn some basic mechanics so you can troubleshoot if you have issues when you're on the road. Related to that, have you got anyone who can help? Have you got any friends and family who are willing to get involved? Even if they're not that good on the tools, even just having someone to hold a piece of wood while you're screwing it can be a huge help. What is your time frame? Depending on your other commitments, the scope of your build, and how many resources you have available will drastically affect your time frame, making it anywhere from a month to a year. I've estimated how long I think it will take me to complete each task, and I've come up with a number of 45 days build time. I'm going to give myself 60 days to factor in my other commitments, as well as account for any delays. Where will you complete the build? Do you have access to a site that's appropriate, that has the necessary power requirements? And where will you store the van when you're not working on it, as well as the materials? Fortunately, I have a large garage, but you may need to hire a location. What do you already have? Having access to tools or even materials can certainly lead to some big savings. I have some basic tools, but I'll also be needing to borrow some. I've been on the lookout for materials for a few months, and I've managed to get a set of drawers and a wardrobe for free. What will you do if something goes wrong? No one wants to think about the worst, but it is worth considering. What happens if you're not able to complete the build, if there's a major mechanical error, or you'll get injured or ill, or if you're van lifing with someone else, what happens if you have a fallout? These are all things that you should come up with a contingency plan for. And finally, what are the laws for van lifing in your region? In New South Wales, for every bed in the camper, you must have a seat with a legally compliant seatbelt. If you're going to alter the structural properties of the roof, then you need to get it re-safety certified. And if you want to park somewhere and sleep in the van, it must be private property or signposted as a dedicated camping area. There's probably a few more considerations depending on your circumstance, but these ones will apply to pretty much everyone. I hope this has given you more clarity on the considerations before embarking on van life. I really hope your van life journey goes well, and if you want to follow my conversion and travel journey, well, be sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.